Before sunset, dancers prancing to the brisk beats of the Djembe drum on the playground, with teachers and students cheering and running around in excitement. This was a performance in an international school in Beijing by Abbey Dance Company. To pick a word that best describes it, it would be integration. It was performed by a troupe founded by a Chinese lady and her African husband. The performance featured a dance with the typical African Djembe drums in a school in China. Dancers and drummers from both China and Africa were dressed in traditional African attires. The teachers and students with various skin colors were in high spirits. The Chinese culture has been magically blended with the African culture and the global culture as a whole. It was Chinese performing artist Jiang Keyu and her husband, Cameroonian dancer Simon Nabe, who founded the Abbey Dance Company. In 2005, Jiang Keyu was selected into a Chinese-Cameroonian cultural collaboration project as a dance teacher, and took on the job of revitalizing the Cameroon National Ballet. She embedded elements of Taiji and Chinese folk dance in her teaching, along with thoughts rooted in the ideas and philosophies from Taiji and Taoism. Simon Nabe was one of the dancers who entered the training program tutored by Jiang Keyu. After 3 years of dedicated efforts, the Cameroon National Ballet has rejuvenated itself from the brink of bankruptcy. In 2008, the young troupe performed an original dance in the African Night event around the time of the Beijing Olympics as a special gift for China. Of course, such bonds are not limited to dance or a few decades. The scroll that records Chinese-African cultural communication and collaboration unfolds back to the Han Dynasty. Back in the 14th century, Moroccan traveler Ibn Battuta started his exploration in China along the ancient Silk Road. He wrote about busy Chinese ports and the fine bamboo crafts, lacquerware, and silk of China. In the 15th century, Chinese Admiral Zheng He sailed to as far the east coast of the African continent, and his close and direct interactions with local residents have left warm memories there. Since the 21st century, with the establishment of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, the two sides have seen more extensive and in-depth cooperation in people-to-people exchanges. Chinese TV series like Minning Town have been welcomed in African countries. Projects including the Shaolin Temple Cultural Center in Zambia and the Luban workshops have won applause. Exchange activities like the China-Africa Youth Festival have become increasingly influential. In these, people can see closer bonds between China and Africa. The 2024 summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation has been held on schedule. Leaders of China and African countries have gathered in Beijing again after 6 years. We expect this summit to open a new and more colorful chapter in the era of cultural communication between China and Africa. How can we not be delighted to have friends coming from Africa? We dance with joy and find our hearts connected. Thank you for watching. I'm Xiu Yi in Beijing.